So I had a few different people reach out to me and they wanted to know what the key is to treating Achilles tendonitis. Both of these people happen to be runners, and that's not uncommon. So for those of you who are runners, or maybe playing a sport, or maybe just trying to do a couch to run program, and you've developed what sounds and feels like Achilles tendonitis, I just want to share some information that can potentially help you. Most often, particularly with my runners, or those who are trying to get back to running in some way, shape, or form, it's really prudent that we take a look at how you're running. More than not, people are running on their forefoot. They're landing on their forefoot. They've been educated and taught that landing on their forefoot is actually best. The reality is, long story short, you're more likely to develop some form of a tendonitis from the knee down if you land like that. And the Achilles tendon, being the biggest tendon in the body, having to attenuate the most force, is most likely at risk for developing that tendonitis. So if it is from potentially a running, we'd have to really break down and look at that. Now conversely, even if you just feel like you've been walking, maybe you've been trying to walk 5 miles a day, 10 miles, you've been getting on the beach because it's nicer out, that too, we would still have to analyze your gait and see how you're walking. It's one of those things that not many people teach us how to walk, right? We just walk and our gait changes as we get older, we get stiffer, and so therefore we have to have kind of updated screenings too as to even how we're walking and how things have changed. But we want to take a look at that. More than not, after we've ruled out the root cause and how you're moving and how you're walking, we tend to find that most people, I would say 8 out of 10, are limited into dorsiflexion, meaning the ability to lift their foot up toward the ceiling. A lot of times the calf gets really tight, and even myofascially, that muscle group seems to get really tight, and so I tend to find that dry needling, cupping, even deep tissue massage can be a great start to helping loosening that up. Obviously, feel free to take ice and anti-inflammatories and load up on that. I find that a lot of people are timid and not really wanting to take anti-inflammatories anymore. They don't want to take pills. I totally get that. There is a time and a place for a smart dosage of anti-inflammatories just to kind of quiet it down from a chemical perspective and let us address more of the mechanical perspective. You could absolutely wear some of those kind of night socks that pull the foot up. I don't think those are complete game changers, but those are certainly things that can hurt. You got to take a look at your foot orthotics, or if you're not wearing orthotics, have you changed your shoes in a long time? Are you walking or running on the crown of a hill? You know, we have to kind of look at the environmental ergonomics that you've been associated yourself with to see if that too is playing a role. And then last point, you can't rule out or you can't neglect what the importance is of the entire leg. So have you had any knee injuries? Have you had any hip injuries? Heck, have you had any back injuries? A lot of time, these injuries are really a buildup from a lack, or therefore a lot of deficits in the entire leg, and it builds itself up and it has to show somewhere. A lot of times the Achilles tendon is one that tries to bail out the entire leg from a previous knee injury or from a previous hip injury that never quite rehabbed well, and therefore the pain showing up in the Achilles. But I would say again, 70% of the time or so when I'm working with that problem and I start to investigate higher up the chain, there's oh yeah, I had a meniscectomy 10 years ago. Oh yeah, that hip has never quite felt the same. It's always been weaker. And so it's actually really prudent to go through and address the impairments that you find in the entire leg. So for those of you that reached out with the key to treating Achilles tendonitis, I know that's a lot of information, but I hope that just helps you guys get on the right track. Thank you guys so much.